Boom! Welcome in to another week of the Fun Astrology Podcast. Thomas Miller here on my little granddaughter's birthday, February 5th. Glad you're here too. All right, we've got quite a bit in store today. Let's talk about some announcements here first. The Horary Practicum with Robert Glasscock is next Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern. All the information is at the top of funastrology.com. If you have registered, great. I am going to try to figure out how to get an email to you. And as I'm recording this on Sunday, I do not use those email blast programs. I've just always communicated right here, heart to heart, right on the podcast, and it's worked well. But now we need to kind of get some information in your hands, so I'm going to try to figure that out. But if I don't, the Zoom information will be posted to the website by midweek. You know, that way all the email issues, typos, etc. I've already seen typos in there, and I'm not even going to try to fix them. I'm just sending it out, and then if you don't get it, you can come back and get it right from the website. But just be keeping your eye on funastrology.com at the top if you would like to participate in that event, the Horary Practicum, where we're going to answer questions, answer some horary questions, and talk about questions in the horary course from course members. All of that in 2 hours. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, but it's going to be great. And we've way oversubscribed what we thought, so I'm glad you guys are interested in it. One other quick little thing, if you kind of like what we're doing around here and you listen on Apple, we'd love for you to leave a comment. Would appreciate that. Don't mention it often, but wanted to hear. Okay, let's dig into this chart. First of all, what I thought we would do today is do a big macro overview of these energies and where we're heading primarily. And then during the week, we can unpack some things. We also, again this week, have a fairly light week. As we discussed last week, it is more methodical through the month of February than it is these focused times like we had a couple of weeks ago. So the first thing I wanted to point out is today is the last day of Pluto being the oracle planet, and this will be for a long while. Mercury takes up that role tomorrow, and you would expect that because today Mercury and Pluto conjoin. Happens at 8 o'clock this morning Eastern Time, and we could spend an hour just on that aspect right there. Of course, we won't, but here is something you could do to just check where are you kind of in the alignment with things right now. This is a great aspect to do that with. So Mercury rules the mind, Pluto rules the deep self, the deep soul, also the psyche to a point of that depth coming to the surface, and obviously transformation and many other characteristics. So here's what I would do. Use this aspect today as a touch point of where you are in your own spiritual process. In other words, think about that your mind is colliding with what you might describe as thermonuclear power. So as you sit in the rays of this aspect, notice where your mind is going today. For some of us, that could give us a clue as to where we are spiritually. Those of you who kind of do our Sunday night thing and listen to some of the more in-depth stuff that I put out know that I talk frequently about the combination between talking to the mental side of ourselves, represented in astrology by Mercury, versus talking to the soul side of ourselves, represented by things like the moon and Neptune, treating them like two different parts of yourself combined in the whole for the purpose of you doing your best work, right? But sometimes they pull against each other. So notice where your alignments might be today. If you are feeling mental anguish today, amplified, above normal baseline, then it could be that there are some things that want to come out to be resolved, and it's just a subtle way of trying to tell you. On the other hand, if you're feeling more of a calm relaxedness in the midst of the storm, in other words, think of the captain with his hand firmly on the wheel, and yet the waves are raging around him, that's probably a positive, that you are connecting with the deeper sides of your soul. And even though things might not be so calm around us right now, if you're feeling that depth and just feeling okay with it, then that's a really good sign. And that's a segue into what else I wanted to talk about. And we're going to get it set up today, but I noticed that everything so far that we've done took a good chunk of our time. So let's just lay the groundwork of this. Then we'll give it due time tomorrow and even into Wednesday if we need to, because I pulled some really interesting stuff as we look ahead years, not days or months. But where are we building with all of this energy? And I'm going to be curious, keeping an eye on this flip-flop away from Pluto as the oracle planet starting tomorrow to see if anything lightens up a little bit. Because what's happening between now and February 17th, that's 2 Saturdays away, Mercury, Mars, and Venus all enter Aquarius, and they will be in there for just a day and a half. And then on the 18th in the late evening, the Sun enters Pisces. And Mercury's right behind, 5 days later. But beginning with Mercury today, moving into Aquarius, it's already there. It just conjoins Pluto at the door at 8 o'clock this morning. Next is Mars, then Venus. So then we have amplified Aquarian energy for the last half of the Sun's transit through Aquarius. We will review that tomorrow. But where we're going, mostly this is 2025 and 2026. Or these major shifts of these outer planets, something that hasn't happened, if ever, for a long, long time, where we will have Pluto in Aquarius, Neptune moving into Aries, Saturn moving into Aries, Uranus moving into Gemini. And if you wanted to throw Jupiter in there, sure, go ahead, moving into Gemini and then Cancer, while all this is taking place. And one of the reasons I focus our attention on this Pluto situation at 0 degrees Aquarius is because 0 degrees Aries is also going to be amplified. Do you see why I was saying that you could use this Mercury-Pluto conjunction today as a little checkpoint? Because we are going to be going through so many incredible changes in the days and years ahead. So it's almost like this little check-in. As the hymn writer of old said, is it well with my soul? That's what we want to achieve. All right, there's so much with this. Oh, there's so much. Tomorrow's going to be good. I can't wait. All right, you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for listening. I love you to pieces, and I'll see you back tomorrow.